Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. We're talking Loki, episode 1, season 1. I'm here with my friend and my usual cohort, cousin Cheeto. How you doing, mate?
Doing good.
Oh, sorry, I do apologize. Having a little bit of a technical issue here. But yes, Loki season 1 came out. How did you find it?
I mean, it was good. It was a good first episode. It was a lot of Tom Hiddleston's Loki being Tom Hiddleston's Loki, which is kind of what I wanted. So I was on board.
Fair enough. I didn't know what to make of the first episode initially. I mean, the thing is with all shows, when it comes to the very first episode, it's all about groundwork. It's all about expedition and all of that sort of stuff. And we got that in this particular episode, and I liked it. I liked it for what it is. There was a couple of things that I was like, oh, that's a bit unusual, but other than that, I liked it. So let's break it down, shall we?
Okay.
So we start the show with the with Endgame, with the Endgame time heist, where Loki grabs the Tesseract and escapes. And when we finally see him escape, he ends up in Mongolia, the Gobi Desert. He tries to roll the people there, but the TVA comes in and says that he's a variant and he's under arrest for the time violation. Loki doesn't care, ignores the TVA, and the goon hits him in the face. And we see him go down to 1/16th time speed. Now, at first, I thought it was just a slow motion shot, but no, he was slowed down to 1/16th of a second. So, and he was feeling the pain and at the same time, which is kind of unusual. But that was an interesting moment to see him in that position. I mean, like when it comes to time travel, they were immediately implementing it from the start by him obviously being in a different time thing when after being hit. Now he gets taken into a portal and into the TVA, into this organization. He's stripped naked by a robot and he's told to confirm everything he says. He then goes through a metal detector to make sure that he's also not a robot himself. It's funny, but if he was a robot, he would have melted and been in pure agony. Now Loki's also asked to take a ticket. And when he's within the TVA and he goes through this line, he sees the cartoon of Miss Minutes, who's now become my new favorite character, mate. And she tells the story of the multiverse, a war between different timelines. Like, where the fuck? How the hell is this all going to fit with Eternals? That's what I'm thinking. But nevertheless, the timekeepers came along. They created a TVA. They make sure that the timeline's secure because this stuff has to repeat itself all the bloody time. But shit happens now and again, and things go off a bit of course, and then we get variants like Loki. So that's why we have the TVA. But we also see, and I'm not sure that Goldman Sachs guy, he might have been a variant himself, but he didn't get a ticket. He got too big for his boots, and then he ended up getting vaporized for not fucking having a ticket. So before we start getting into Morbius, and Owen Wilson, how did you like this opening section, starting with Endgame, and then him having to fucking end up in the TVA?
I mean, it was interesting to watch just because, I mean, this is all introducing us, and this is really one of the first explainers of the multiverse. I mean, we had a little bit of an explainer in Endgame with the Ancient One, but yeah, I mean, we had a little bit of a better explainer in this episode of the multiverse. I find it funny that they think that there is no multiverse. I mean, I guess that because of the TVA, there wouldn't be a multiverse, but I still think that's kind of crazy that they oh no, there's only one timeline. Like, it never varies, and if it does, we take care of it. So
yeah, it's at the moment it's all very up in the air. I've got a whole bunch of things, and I hope I remember them by the time I finish doing this breakdown. I might have to bring up certain things, like for instance, I have to bring up certain things now actually, but I'm scared of forgetting. No, I'll take that back. Let's continue. 1589. France, and Morbius who's played by Owen Wilson, and I'm very happy to see Owen Wilson back after all the shit he's gone through in his life, like almost committing suicide, drug addiction, and stuff like that. It's good to see him back on our screens, and he's investigating a murder, and the person who committed this murder left a packet of bubblegum from his time. What was the name of it? Was it Kablooey? That was the name of the bubblegum? to Bluey.
I thought he said something about the devil made me do it or something like that. So we get all he said something about the devil made me do it.
No, yeah, she was like when Morbius was trying to there's the picture there when Morbius was trying to talk to the young girl. She pointed to the picture of the window frame, and there you see Mephisto there. I mean, I'm sorry, the devil, or maybe another version of Loki. Who knows? But you know, obviously the Mephisto theories have come back and
forth. Oh yeah, here we go. The Mephisto theories.
Well, you know, look, no, you would have thought people would have learnt with Falcon and the Winter Soldier after all the bloody incredibly, you know, up in the air theories that were coming out of WandaVision. But no, they didn't. And now Mephisto is back. But
I'm trying to remember what he said, because he said something like the devil made me do it, or Blue Devil, or something like that. And
I'm not so sure. But what I got overall from this early clip of Morbius was that you could tell he's a good guy, or you hope he is a good guy, because this TVA and all of this sort of stuff, it's very unusual. See, Loki Laferson, that's his name because he's not Odin's son.
One, yeah. I noticed that too. I'm like, oh, they called him Laufey's son. I said, that's good.
Yeah. And he's on trial for the time crime. He actually blames the Avengers for fucking up the timeline. And then this was interesting, but I'm glad they nipped this in the bud straight away, because immediately the lady who's acting as the judge here, she said that the Avengers were supposed to do this time travel malarkey, but you weren't supposed to end up being a variant, which is interesting.
Yeah, because I did want to point out is the fact that and I like the way they pointed it out that doing time travel is not illegal. Breaking the timeline that they set out is illegal. So if the Avengers would have veered from the timeline that they had set forth, then the Avengers would have been in this predicament. But they did.
I do feel as much as they tried to rectify certain things at the end of Endgame by him returning the stones, they've done so many things that would make people go on a different path regardless of returning the stones. Like, you know, Captain America knows that Bucky's alive before Winter Soldier. You know,
and I agree.
The interactions.
I was say those are just all things that those nitpicks from Endgame that I always had was about him knowing that Bucky's alive. Obviously, that didn't happen in the prime time.
Tony and Howard Stark and their interactions could have led to somewhere. You know, I mean, maybe Howard Stark, just that little interaction with Tony makes him a better father, which is probably the worst thing to happen to Tony, because maybe he needs his father to be an arsehole, you know, for him to become Iron Man. You know, little things like that. But, you know, nevertheless, we get to see that judge lady, who apparently is actually Kang the Conqueror's love interest, the character she's playing. And this kind of got me thinking, because she was talking about the TVA and the timekeepers and stuff like that. And she's basically a spokesperson for them. But we never got one tiny hint of the timekeepers, who are supposed to be some sort of celestial being that lives for forever. We never got to see them in this whole episode. And so I feel personally that the timekeepers don't exist. Or maybe they're going down the Wizard of Oz route, and there's only one timekeeper, and that's Kang the Conqueror behind the curtain. You know?
I actually have a theory when we get to the end of the episode. I have a theory that may or may not pan out, but
I mean, that's just one of my things. I've got another one later on, because
it's not a bad theory. No, that is one of my theories that crossed my, like, something like that is what crossed my mind. So I agree with you. That could absolutely be it.
I'm going to jump way ahead here, because I'm worried I'm going to forget this next theory. Yeah, and we'll talk about it when I do my breakdown, but I have to bring it up now. Remember that geezer who never knew what a fish was, which I found absolutely unbelievable.
Okay.
You know, Loki said, "I'm going to gut you like a fish." He goes, "What's a fish?"
Okay.
You honestly don't remember that?
I do remember that. But
okay. Yeah. And then you realize that his whole life has been behind a desk, which is really good to know that these guys don't just clock off and fucking go back home or whatever, because they are created to work. Yeah, which is fascinating, yeah, in that sense. Because where do these people come from? I think every person in the TVA is a variant. Every single one of them.
Okay. That's a good
Yeah,
theory.
that's a couple of my theories. But the fact that this guy's whole existence has been to work behind that desk, I love it. I fucking love it. But anyway, let's move on. We got to see the whole TVA in the world, his network of buildings, which is pretty cool because once Morbius's character stops Loki from getting reset by the judge, he takes him under his wing and he shows him around. We get to see. So go on, please.
Oh no, I was kind of confused by it. What do they mean by reset? Like, so they disintegrated
We
the
never
one.
knew. We
Yeah,
never
like
knew.
they disintegrated the one guy, but does that mean he was reset, or does that just mean that he was dead? You know what I mean? Like, what does reset even mean? Does that mean that they kill the variant so that time's reset?
Well, look, you have to. I think Loki's very lucky here because he's got like special. He's been really given like a special treatment by Morbius. But I think a lot of these
Mobius.
guys, yeah, Mobius. But I think a lot of these variants, they don't give a fuck about. That's why that fat one earlier on, the Goldman Sachs kid, he was killed instantly. They would have done that to Loki as well, probably. The reset or whatever, if it wasn't for Morbius to coming in and saving his ass. So I don't think they value the life of the variants. They're happy to kill them off regardless. Okay. All right. So anyway, we get to see networks of buildings and departments and flying vehicles. The TVA is created by the Timekeepers. Possibly, maybe even Morbius was created by the Timekeepers. I think he said that he was created by the Timekeepers. And Morbius also has a little device that stops Loki from causing mischief and maybe attacking him. And this device basically makes Loki go into a little time loop. So he goes back a few seconds every time he does something weird, so he can never truly get hold of Morbius. But we get to see Morbius and Loki asking questions, and this is one of my favorite scenes of this episode. Just the back and forth and the battle of wits between these two. But it's a bit different because as much as Morbius, I mean, he's a guy who gives a damn, and he's really trying to get through to Loki, but he's no fool leader, and he's got his own methods of doing things. Loki himself is just up his own ass, isn't he? He just wants to rule. And we get the back and forth of wits. And then we hear sorry, before I get to you, Bob, we hear the comment, losing is in your nature comment. And that obviously reminded me of Coulson's death. What would you want to say?
Oh, this episode really, this part especially of this episode really reminds me of that episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 3 when you had the negotiations between the Emerald Chain and Starfleet. This was probably the part of the episode that I enjoyed the most. Like a lot of the weird stuff and all that was good, but like just to put two people in a room and just to get them to like just two people talking, like, and to get such good character work out of two people just talking in a room, you can't manufacture that. It has to be a good chemistry between two actors. And I think Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, and I am not a fan of Owen Wilson. There has hardly been a single movie I have ever liked of Owen Wilson's, but I like him in this role. I was very skeptical about Owen Wilson going into this. So
he's Owen Wilson in this whole character in his Owen Wilson way. No, that talky, that is so fucking Owen Wilson. That is Owen Wilson through and through.
Well, and I understand that is Owen Wilson, but like everything else is not, because that's the part that made me worried when he said talky. I'm like, oh god, okay, it's Owen Wilson being Owen Wilson, but like the rest of it and everything was not Owen Wilson. It was really good. So anyway, keep going.
Owen Wilson's characters usually have an underlayer of assholeness to him, and I think Morbius does a tiny bit to a degree, but he's way more wholesome. Morbius, he seems to be a proper good guy, and it's good because they need a proper good guy for this, and it's not going to be fucking Loki, is it? So,
do you think they're grooming Owen Wilson to be the next Phil Coulson of like the next phase because the next one's going to be about the multiverse and time travel and everything like that?
It's hard. It's hard because if he's going to be the next Phil Coulson, he might as well get killed off as well. If you're going to put him in that bracket, you know what I mean? I don't know. I need more time Definitely. I mean, personally, for me, Jimmy Woo is the new Phil Coulson, as far as
I
I'm concerned.
I would definitely agree with you on that one.
Okay, so where are my notes here? So basically, Morbius is basically saying to him, "Listen, mate, I know you're the god of mischief, but what you're doing isn't mischief. What you're doing is harming people, killing people, ruining people's lives." But we do get to see some appreciation from Morbius towards Loki when he showed him one of the stupid things he did when he was a little bit younger, when he was DB Cooper. Now, do you know about DB Cooper?
Yeah, I mean, well enough. Yeah.
He's like a guy who did a heist in the sky and got away with it. Nobody ever found him. So I'm sure he could go to a certain part of the world and disappear. But yes, he was DB Cooper, and it's really cool because he mentions his brother. He mentions him, Heimdall, who is Idris Elba's character, and he it's like some sort of bet he'd done with them. But yeah, that made him pretty happy. And Morbius also wants to know what makes Loki tick. He shows him his future. If he didn't take the Tesseract, his mother gets killed by the Dark Elves in For the Dark World, your favorite movie.
Okay, not my favorite.
But the point is, he actually, this is something I never really realized, but he got his mum killed,
Oh yeah, he did.
by thinking that he would be getting Thor killed, but he led them to his mum, and he kind of showed you how fucked up he was for that period of time. He definitely was a fucked up person. Anything to say so far, Bob?
No, I mean, you're hitting all the points. I mean, yeah, I mean, and as I said, a lot of the character work here with Tom Hiddleston is fantastic. Just watching his face as like he comes to these realizations that what he hasn't done, but then like he knows he
It's
did do it.
confusion.
Huh?
Yeah, it's confusion because he's like, this is like, he has no idea what the fuck he is.
Yeah, but I love the realization that he gets when he realizes that he probably did these things. Like he thinks that it's a sham and everything like that, but then you can kind of see he's like, oh shit, this is real. Like these guys, this is my future, because he knew it, and
Well,
he came to that realization.
he judges everyone on his own personality, which is quite a common thing to do. But he's a scammer. He does illusions. He's a bullshit artist. So he thinks they're fucking doing illusions. They're scammers. They're bullshit artists. That's how he's seeing them. Anyway, so where was I? So this is one of the. Sorry, where am I? Where am I? TVA. Okay, so the TVA while he's showing whilst Mobius is showing Loki his future or potential future, the TVA guy comes along and he needs to speak to Morbius. And this is when Loki was able to pick Morbius's pocket and get that time loop thingy. He was able to use that to escape. And he finds the receptionist and he threatens to gut him like a fish for the Tesseract. I mean, seriously, do you really need the Tesseract here? Surely. It's so weird anyway. But nevertheless, the receptionist doesn't even know what a fish is. And he says he lived his whole life and existence behind a desk, which I find absolutely fascinating. So how does a person like this come to existence, Bob, if their whole life is to be behind a desk? Can you explain that to me?
Cloning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the first thing that popped in my head. Oh, you know what? I got another one. Apocalypse.
What about variant? You think they're variants?
That variant and cloning is like the same thing, just different means to an end. Like, it's just clones are manufactured. A variant is a probability. Like,
he doesn't know what a fish is. Seriously,
that's why I'm saying maybe he's like maybe he was grown.
He's a human
there.
being.
Maybe he was grown there.
Bandits.
Maybe he was cloned and grown there, and he just has no idea of the outside world outside of the
doing
TVA.
with time travel and stuff like that. And people it's like the variables he would have had to gone through in his life, like something like a fish, never been mentioned once. In the oceans and stuff like that.
We'll just chalk that up for plot hole.
Okay, but no, I mean, I understand the fact that his whole existence has been behind the desk. I understand that, but his experiences behind that death would hopefully make him understand that he knows what a fucking fish is. Let's move on. Loki finds, after being told where the Tesseract is just basically in the receptionist drawer, he finds a whole bunch of Infinity Stones. You know, like there's several Earth Stones. I mean, there's apparently there's Infinity Stones all over this fucking gaff, and none of these gaff means place, and none of these Infinity Stones actually work. It's like the TVA is more powerful than the fucking Infinity Stones themselves. They only use these stones as bloody paperweights, and this leaves Loki in awe. You know, like so go on.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The TVA in the comic books exists outside of our time-space continuum. So the reason why the Infinity Stones don't work there is because it is outside our universe and our time-space continuum. Because the Infinity Stones only work within our universe. But
okay, fair enough. But I do find the fact that it doesn't work in their universe means that their universe is more powerful than the Infinity Stones.
No. It's not a universe. They're not in a universe. They're in like
wherever they are.
They're like in a pocket of eternity or something like that. Like I mean, or like a city at the end of time or something.
However you want to explain it, wherever they are is more powerful than the Infinity Stones themselves, in my opinion.
No, I actually feel like it's not that it's more powerful. It's just a fact. It's like you pull the plug on the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, but if you can do that to the Infinity Stones, you have to be more powerful.
Okay.
You know, like overall, because
if you all understand, leave a comment down in the bottom if you smell what the Cheeto is cooking.
Look, I say this because you see the awe in Loki's face that these guys are just treating Infinity Stones like shit. Yeah, and he makes him realize where the fuck is he? What is this place? You know, like the power of this place. But Loki then escapes back into the interrogation room that he was in earlier, and he sees more of his future. He sees him bonding with his brother in Thor Ragnarok. He sees, unfortunately, the death of his father, but then he also sees himself in Endgame. Sorry, I apologize, in Infinity War, sacrificing himself for his brother. And Loki realizes that, there's more to him than he even knows himself. Now, but after finishing watching this film, that same security guard comes back. She's trying to get the time loop thing off him. Loki takes the piss and starts looping her instead. I think they have a little tussle, and he puts the restraint on her, and she starts looping and everything, which I found pretty funny. Now, this is the bit I found a bit weird. Loki confesses to Morbius that he does not like hurting people. How did you find that? Were you okay with that?
It was all right.
For the last decade, I've just seen a guy laughing at other people's misery. Yeah, so the fact that he doesn't like hurting people, I find a bit weird. I know they gave his explanation, but it just came out like that.
Well, and here's the thing: the analogy that he does in Avengers is, and it's actually very appropriate that this comes right after Avengers, because the thing that he says is an ant has no quarrel with a boot, or a boot has no quarrel with an ant, or whatever. I mean, he feels like these people are ants. Like, we step on ants every day without a second thought. Like, it's not like we do it purposefully, but I mean,
I see an insect, it's dead.
Yeah. Well, okay. But still, like, that's how Loki sees humans and other lower life forms, is they're insignificant. They are insects. I mean, literally, that's how he sees us, as us compared to an insect. He sees that's what he sees.
So were you thrown off then when he says that he doesn't enjoy hurting people? Because this guy stuck a fucking screwdriver in someone's eyeball in Avengers Assemble. So from somebody who doesn't enjoy hurting people, like he stabbed his brother, he's caused all sort of shit, he put people under mind control. I just found that line to be it threw me off so much that I didn't know how to take it. What about yourself?
They're already starting his redemption arc. And I mean, like, his redemption arc again. Where we had a little bit more time to build a redemption arc in like Thor: The Dark World, Ragnarok, Infinity, and culminated in Infinity War. Now, I mean, they're already planting the seeds for his redemption, and it's just like, you earned it the first time, and now the second time you're rushing it. That was my thought. I mean, I get why you're thrown off, and I agree with you. It's kind of out of place, in my opinion. I feel like he's just like what's his face from Toy Story, the skull shirt kid. Like he's an
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's just an asshole, like through and through.
He says he does it because it's part of the illusion. He very immediately confesses, saying that because he's weak, he does it, just to feel strong.
Which that tracks, but for him to say he doesn't like hurting people, I get the whole part of the illusion because he wants to feel powerful. Yeah, duh. We caught that we caught that in Thor, like the first movie.
Sid, yeah, well done, bandits.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but duh. I mean, he wants to feel powerful. What do people do when they want to feel powerful? They hurt people.
Yeah.
Whether it be financially, huh?
Or they run for president.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Anyways, or they become Jeff Bezos. So, I found all of this confession out of Loki to be quite weird. I mean, at the same time, Loki is somebody who deceives people. So, was he deceiving anyone at that particular time? Who knows? But let me just put this message out here. Morbius tells Loki that, listen, mate, we need your help because there is another variant fucking up the timeline, and that variant happens to be another version of you. Now we cut to the end of the episode where we see some TVA guards checking out some place in Oklahoma in the mid 1800s. They can smell gasoline or oil, so they, far as they're concerned, they believe that somebody's basically digging up this area at this period, so they can take all the oil and become rich in the future, or their present. But what happens instead is that this Loki variant just comes out of nowhere and sets fire to the ground and burns those TVA guys alive. And that's how the episode ends. How do you like your TVA agents, Bobby? Medium rare or well done? Because these guys are fucking cooked thoroughly. Which is absolutely
yeah. So do you want me to go into one of my theories now that you've kind of got to the end of?
Yeah.
So one of my theories is that now that it's been revealed that Loki it's one of the variants of Loki, I think that Mobius, a future version of Mobius, and Loki are in on this together, and it's kind of like a loop. It's kind of like a loop where, Mobius finds out something about the TVA, and he probably is a genuine guy, and then he's trying to shut down the TVA. And then Loki obviously joins him because Loki and him want to take down the TVA together for whatever reasons. And then it becomes Loki and Mobius being the two that are the ones they're chasing. Now Loki obviously is probably the more powerful, but Mobius has he has all the knowledge of time travel and all that other stuff. So I feel like that's what we're doing here. I don't know if it's a time loop per se, but it's definitely, I feel like if we have another version of Loki, then it goes along with your other variant theory of Mobius, where that Mobius might be the original Mobius, and he recruited a variant of the original Loki. So now now they have a variant of Mobius working for them. And I don't know. It tracked in my mind really well, and I know I'm explaining it poorly, but.
No, it's interesting. I mean, the theories are going to be coming thick and fast. There's only one episode.
Dude, it's Reed Richards. Reed Richards from the future. Or the past.
I feel I mean, there's a Mephisto thing obviously from the beginning. Look, there it is. There's Mephisto right there in that stained glass window. Or is it another version of Loki? Who knows? But there's that.
Well, remember, Loki looks like a blue devil when he goes to blue. He's got the red eyes.
He's a frost giant.
He's a frost giant. Yeah. But he looks blue and he has the red eyes. So I mean, they probably think in the 1500s, they probably think he's a devil.
It's interesting, but I would like to see the variants of him as a frost giant, not as human-looking Loki. But he shouldn't be looking like this. He should be blue as fuck. He should look like bloody Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, well, I feel like we're gonna see. That's what because remember, as I said, they said something with that kid in the church about a blue devil or something like that, and I think that Loki is going to have his like he's going to be blue, like the bad Loki or the variant Loki that they're chasing. He's going to be blue. Like they're eventually going to reveal, and it's going to be blue Loki, like it's Frost Giant Loki, Smurf
The
Loki.
TVA, are they 100% good guys in this, or do you think there's more to them than meets the eye?
It's hard to say right now because I honestly feel like they're unimportant right now.
You never
Like,
have
okay,
one
let me
villain.
put it this way: they're not the space lizards or the time whatever they are. They're not.
Timekeepers.
Yeah, the timekeepers. I don't feel like they're, at least in this first episode, they are not presented as important enough in this series to be a major villain. They're, and you might be right. They may not even exist. It may
Well,
be.
it's only one. It's one episode. You can't throw all your cards on the table straight away.
I know that's
Yeah,
why.
I'm
But
sure.
you asked me about what I thought, and I'm just after the first episode. I don't feel like the timekeepers are important enough. They haven't presented them as important enough to be the main baddies.
Well,
So
the thing is with the timekeepers is that they're very much an enigma. Like we hear about them, we believe that they're still around. I mean, they're supposed to be, but will we see them? I don't think we'll ever see them. Like I said before, I think there's only one, and that's Kang. And I really hope we see him in this show.
well, keep
I'm
in
not
mind,
putting my hope.
Kang has been cast for Ant-Man and the Wasp 3.
Yes,
So
yes, he has, and I don't know how they're going to do time travel. I mean, obviously, making yourself small does time travel, but you don't. You know, the TVA doesn't have to shrink themselves in order to time travel. So it's interesting how they do it. Nevertheless,
well, maybe Kang doesn't have to shrink himself. Like maybe he doesn't have to use the quantum realm to time travel. They've never said that he has to use that Kang has to use a quantum realm to time travel. Obviously, they have another method of time travel. It might be Kang. You never know.
we got so many things though. Like so many things are branching from this. Like things like the multiverse was mentioned. I mean, that's going to just get people's ears perking up. You know, with the multiverse being mentioned.
Well,
I'm
and the
sure
other
that's
thing
going.
is they say there's not a multiverse anymore, but yet we know Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is coming out.
And there's going to be the Spider Verse, which is a multiverse in itself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so and will this film have an effect on those? Sorry, will this show have a minuscule effect on those shows? Will something from this branch out to that? You know, is it all connected? You know, I don't know. It's all very confusing, nevertheless. But this is just one episode, and the fact that we're already talking regarding so many possible theories is great. Yeah, I'm already looking forward to the next one. Richard E. Grant's in this, and I believe he might be a Loki variant. So I'm not sure about your theory. There might be a female Loki in this. I don't know how they're going to pull that one off.
I think
Because
they've already
apparently,
confirmed. I think they've confirmed that with behind the set photo or behind the scene photos that
yeah,
somebody
but
was walking
there's red
around.
herrings. There's red herrings. You know, I keep thinking that female Loki is possibly Scarlet Witch, Black Widow. Um, I think it's her.
Okay, it
Yeah,
might
a
be.
lot of people.
It might be her. I mean, he might be there to visit her, but at the same time, there were set photos of a female, like a female wearing a Loki costume on the set. So
No, okay, fair enough. I'm just thinking, like, you know, with all the Infinity Stones he's got at his disposal, he might be able to use the Soul Stone. And
wouldn't it be crazy though? Like, it would be funny though if he got like his hands on some of those Infinity Stones. And did they ever take the Time Stone back from him? Because he grabbed that Time Stone. At least I don't remember him putting it back. So I
no doubt,
wonder
but the point is those stones don't work there. They don't
there,
work.
but when he goes outside of the TVA, when they go out to go track down the Lokis or whatever.
You should take a reality stone, man. You can't, you change reality, and people won't know what the hell to believe.
I mean, he is
Yeah.
the master of or the god of mischief, god of illusion.
Yeah, but in a way, I'm kind of glad what they're doing with the Infinity Stones, because I feel with this next phase we need to move on from the Infinity Stones. It's all good that there are little Easter eggs here and there, and they shouldn't be. They should be more used for
Paperweights.
plot. Oh no, not paperweights, but they shouldn't be the MacGuffin. They should be part of the story, but not the MacGuffin.
Well,
If you know what I mean.
I just don't want them to nerf them. Like, I don't mind them like being a nod here and there, but at the same time, like if Loki actually gets the time stone back into, the universe, he should be able to use it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if he has it, or even if he gets his hands on the reality stone, he should be able to use it when they're time traveling and tracking down Lokis. He should be able to use them. Now, there probably will be some rule that he can't use those Infinity Stones, so they'll probably try to stop him from using them. But I mean, the Infinity Stones in the Prime Universe are gone. Like, they are. Thanos used the stones to destroy the stones. So technically, all those time stones you see in that picture right there are variant.
Yeah, let me pause that. Let me pause that picture. Look, I mean, oh, sorry, wrong button.
Well, but
let's go back.
But still, like all those Infinity Stones are variant Infinity Stones. Like, they're not the Prime Infinity Stones.
I think there's a bloody mini arc reactor there. A couple of them, mini arc reactors. Have a look at that. Have a look at just outside of the stones. What else can you see there?
Honestly, to me, I saw that and it kind of looked like one of those Black Widow like those little shocker things that she throws. That's what it looks like to me. That's probably not it, but that's what like those little electric things she throws or shoots out of her gauntlet and electrocutes people. But
yeah,
that's what it looks like. It may not be that. I don't know. I think it's just a treasure trove of Easter eggs.
I wouldn't mind if somehow wanted like the time stone, a version of the time stone ended up with back with Doctor Strange via Loki. Maybe
he did. As I said, I don't remember him sitting that time stone back down. So we might. I mean, maybe he'll carry it and use it a couple times, and maybe it'll wind up back in Doctor Strange. I mean, the Eye of Agamotto is actually a big part of the Doctor Strange lore. So the fact that they kind of nerfed the Eye of Agamotto by getting rid of the time stone is kind of a sad thing. And the Eye of Agamotto does more than just time travel, I believe, in the comics. I mean, I don't mind it in the MCU that it was the time stone, but at the same time, I mean, I wouldn't mind them getting it back either. But I don't want them to bring all the Infinity Stones back.
Yeah, it served its purpose now. I can understand it being a tool, but not the MacGuffin. For sure. Yeah, for sure. All right. So it's been a good first episode. What would you like to give it, Bob, out of 10?
Oh, probably a 7.5.
7.5. A little bit more generous than me. I'll give it a 7. Yeah, maybe. Oh, by the way, here we go. Your best mates here. Hey,
Hello?
Blocky.
Hello?
Block. Hey, Block. How you doing?
I'm at work. I just wanted to stop in and say hello, all.
Oh, thank you very much. Have you seen Loki yet?
No, I plan on it though. It came out yesterday, right?
Oh yeah, it came out. It came out today.
Oh, and
yesterday. And
the basic premise is. Oh, sorry. The basic premise is like Loki's being used by that agency to like correct timeline and like police different timelines or something, right? Yeah.
To a degree, but it's also a timeline he kind of fucked up, so he's having to resolve a problem that he created, I guess. Okay. It's hard to tell at the moment because we're only one episode in, and it's just a lot of ground building and stuff like that. But Owen Wilson's very good in it. Tom Hiddleston's very good in it. Some of the supporting cast are pretty good in it. It does remind me of other shows like Umbrella Academy and stuff like that. At the same time, he's got his own unique spin, and it's addressing things that I've always found weird in these other shows. Like, you have these people who work for this time bureau, yet what do they do other than work for that time bureau? Do they go home and have lunch with the kids? Do they have the weekends off and then fuck around? What do they do when they're not working for a time bureau? And at least with this show, it explained that. With this one guy having his entire existence being a fucking receptionist. And I love that. Now I need more explanation on that. And how did this person end up having his entire existence being a fucking receptionist? So I'm looking forward to hopefully them explaining that. If they do explain that, there's a whole bunch of things they have yet to explain, like when he went through that metal detector to see if he was a robot or not. that guy, he had the little card with the red on it, and that wasn't explained. So there's a whole bunch of things. There's so much stuff needs to be explained. I can't wait. What about you, Bob? Excited for the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Block, when you gonna watch this Loki?
Try to watch it tonight. I wonder if they're gonna set Easter eggs for the next phase or whatever.
Oh, there's Easter eggs, mate. There's I wouldn't say necessarily for the next phase, but Easter eggs, guaranteed. You know, if you're familiar with the MCU like me and Bob are, you know, you'll pick up on things for sure. And if you don't pick up on it, I'm sure you miss as well.
All right, I'll give it a watch tonight, and then I'll go ahead and watch on the YouTubes. I'm not in a situation right now to be on the show per se. All right.
Have you seen WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier yet?
WandaVision, but not Winter. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to get MCU'd out. WandaVision I like just because I like magic and stuff.
No. Well, I can understand you being I can understand you being MCU'd out if it was all the same. But WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki so far. Loki maybe a little bit like WandaVision, but luckily there's enough time between the two shows for it to not feel too similar. But Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, they're totally different, man. Yeah, I mean, one's an action-packed drama, an action-packed sort of spy movie from the beginning, whilst WandaVision is more of a sort of Twilight Zone mindfuck, but with an action scene in the final episode. So, anyway, we're going to wrap this up now, Block. But thank you very much for passing by, Cousin Cheetos. Thank you very much for always dropping by. It's been a pleasure. This has been a fantastic first episode of Loki, and we can't wait to talk about the next one. But we will be back this Friday talking about Dark Side of the Ring, Dynamite Kid. So please be with us for that. We very much look forward to discussing that. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube. You know you want to. Bye-bye.